Please welcome Mike.
The Navy. My family's come from a long history of service. My uncle served in World War II on the Coast Guard. My father had 20 years in the Navy. My brother Dave had over 20 years in the Air Force. And my nephew Zach just joins the U.S. Marines. If I could get a family member in the Army, I've got it all. Just so you didn't think I was shirking my responsibility, in 1982 I was a junior in high school. And the Navy said, we're going to allow you to be on the back seat of a bomber plane on a carrier because you don't have 20/20 vision. We anticipate when you graduate next year in 1983, we're going to send you 4 years full ride to Notre Dame and you're going to be a naval officer. We're going to train you to be a bombardier and you will go on a carrier. I said, I'm all for it. I want to do it. The following year, the Navy changed the rules. You needed 20/20 vision. I had to be a fighter pilot. And there was no corrective lenses allowed. So I had everything lined up. If I had the lenses, I would have flown. If you do the math, 1987, about 4 years later, that's the first Iraqi war. There's a really good chance I would have been bombing Iraq. Not that I was looking forward to killing anyone, but it would have been kind of nice. I would have been one of the few military, since my uncle served in combat. So I would have, done my duty. But the Navy changed the rules. They didn't allow it. I ended up at the University of Buffalo. So I graduated from St. Joe's Collegiate Institute on Kenmore Avenue, Marauder, 1983, Canisius High School. If you're familiar with them in senior market division, that's the kind of things I dealt with. Because the Navy said this wasn't the way to go, I ended up going to UB, and I went with something that St. Joe's taught me, bookkeeping. I said, geez, bookkeeping and accounting, it's kind of the same thing. The teacher said, they pay people to do this. I said, really? I said, all right. So I got out of UB May of '87. I got hired in September, and I've been doing accounting ever since. Because it gets interchangeable, like car and automobile, bookkeeping and accounting are not necessarily interchangeable. Think of bookkeeping as allocating stuff into like little buckets, like national grid to utilities, office max to office supplies. It's taking deposits to the bank, it's calling in payroll, it's deciding where an expense goes. That's bookkeeping. I do accounting. Accounting is what the numbers mean, what they tell you, an interpretation of the numbers. A good accounting question is, can I afford a new vehicle? Can I afford the monthly payment? Can I afford to hire a new employee? Can I expand my operations? Can I open up a second location? The bookkeeping gives me the information to allow me to do the accounting. I could be a bookkeeper, I'd be quite good. I tend to, again, interpret the numbers. So you would think of bookkeeping as just pushing the paper. I'm trying to tell the business owner what the numbers mean. They didn't go to school. They don't know. They're very good at what they do, but they can't sit down with me and hang with me at any level. They're just not going to do it. My job is to interpret those numbers so they can understand if they're making money, if they're doing well or not. It's a pretty popular event. So I spent 8 years with other CPAs learning my job. When I first started, I couldn't find the bathroom without help. I was not born with a calculator in my hand. I learned it from other people. I learned when I was good. Customers came to me. I call them customers rather than clients. I think of that as customer service. It's my mindset. And they said to me, why are you working for these guys? You're good. You're really good. You got to be out on your own. June 1995, I went out for 23 years. I've been self-employed. So that gives you the 31 years. So you think about what happened. I went to high school, took some bookkeeping, went to college, got my accounting degree, and I've done this ever since. No break in the job environment. I guess I'm old school. This is all I do. This is all I know. All right. One of the first things is, what makes me different from the competition? First thing is I don't talk down to the business owners. How many of you gone to like a doctor's office that made you feel like an addict? How could you not know the difference between the bacteria and virus? How could you not know this A1C? Because they went to medical school and they assumed you did too. Accountants had training too. Most accountants will talk down to you, assuming that you somehow had their level of education and knowledge and that you feel dumb because you don't know. I make sure you understand what's going on. I need you to feedback me. This is not me talking to you. Which gives me a good example. I can guide you to any answer I want. I'm pretty good. So if I turn to Bob and say, Bob, you didn't screw up the solar fixed assets, did you? He's going to say, hell no, Mike. Okay? If I turn to Dan and say, you're tracking all the fixed assets, hell yeah. I can get any answer I want from these guys by how many quarters I want. But if I said to them, a fixed asset is something that will last at least a year and cost more than $1,000. Did your company buy anything like that? Now I just educated what a fixed asset is. Hey, have you bought some computers, the tables and chairs we're sitting at? Maybe we got some electronic equipment or a new van. Now I'm getting feedback as to what you did. And I'm educating you as to what I'm looking for. And as time goes on, I've had some of my best customers say, hey, I know what's going on. Getting toward the end of the year, I can buy a new van, we can write it off, I can save taxes. They're being educated on tax planning. They know what to do. Some of my best customers, I call autopilot. I just show them the check. They already know what their game plan is. They already have a plan. You know, it just works. All right, let's see here. Sometimes they get, because it's just me, like, how big are you? Well, because I've got a lot of people trained the way I think, I don't have staff. My staff are all the owners and employees in their companies. I train them to do what they need to do. I don't need to teach you bicycle manufacturing if you're a pizzeria. If you want to know it, I'll teach it to you, but you're not going to use it. What's the point? So my staff are going to be owners or the employees that I handpicked, trained, and I know they're good. They're doing what I've told them. They're understanding what they're doing. It makes it easy. That's why, usually by Thanksgiving, if you add company 1 sales plus company 2 plus company 3, if you look for my signature on a tax return, I do about $80 to $85 million in sales a year. All different industries. It's a pretty good sized company. Thousands of employees, hundreds of owners. You put all my customers together. They all trust me with this because I know what I'm doing. And it helped them. It makes it easier. There's a comfort level. I was kidding around, with Chuck's wife. The anxiety level doesn't have to be there. A lot of accountants don't care about that. They like to ratchet it up and have an unusual meeting. What also makes me different, I'm the visiting team. If I'm visiting Marty, it's easy. He's got his office, his file cabinets. I almost know what's in his file cabinets as well as Marty does. If he's going to come visit me, he needs a U-Haul. He's going to bring his whole office to me. It makes 0 sense for me to be the home team. I've got a great home office, and none of you ever see it. Not that I don't want to invite you, it makes no sense. I'd rather come to you. Your records are there. Your passwords on your computers are there. If you need something from the bank, you can just file it up, go grab it. It makes no sense for you to come to me. It makes so much more. A lot of accountants, you will come visit them. You'll sit in your office and be unproductive and get nothing. And then they have a list, another meeting for what you missed on the list. And 3 or 4 or 5 visits later, you'll finally get what you want, maybe. That's normal for the industry. I don't do that. I walked into a building and people say, "Ah, crap, you're here." Oh well. It happens. I have got a really good retention on customers. I've had some customers from 23 years ago when I started. They're still with me. Some of them are on the verge of retirement, but they're comfortable with me. We get the job done. They don't have problems. They don't get letters from the government. We don't have issues. So retention, I call a rookie anyone I haven't served for at least 10 years. Because to me, that's still rookie status. 10 years is nothing for me. I expect to see that. It's only when you start getting the 15, 20, 25 range, you say, wow, we've been together a really long time. So to me, that's normal. A lot of accounting firms are there 2 years, 3 years, they turn them over. 4 years is an amazing length of time to have a customer. Not me. I'm a big fan of questions. If you don't ask them, I will. You have a chance to meet with me. There's no legal questions, there's no moral questions. I want feedback. I don't want to pay my employees. All right, but we can find a different way to do it. There's probably something legal we can do, to get the goal you want. But if you're not talking to me, if you don't feel comfortable talking to me, then you're not going to. And you're just going to go do your own thing and expect me to pick up the pieces and fix it later. I tell them, I don't care what the question is. I'll talk about it. If you haven't figured it out, unlike a lot of accountants, I have a good personality. And I guess enterprise is a little bit spoiled, I don't know if I can use that word, is you assume we're all like me. Thank God, no, I guess most will talk down to you, they dull monotone, can't explain what they're doing, they're pain in the butt. This is what I'm looking for a good referral. And it's about anyone in the room. I'm good to about 5 to 10 million sales. I've actually helped up to 100 million sales. The reason I cap it around 5, they hire me full time. I don't do them, but if you went to Rich Products, the whole 4th floor is accountants. You don't need me. You got a whole 4th floor. Go to them. But a mid-sized company, 2, 3, 4, 5 million in sales, several hundred thousand, they'd love to have me full time, but they can't afford me. But they can bring me by once a month to see what's going on, and I can give them that level of advice. Part of my job, I'm like a traveling chief financial officer. I can help a company run even better. But the trick is, you have to be able to talk to me. The personality is huge. So I guess what's a good referral for me is someone who says, I got one of those accountants. They're like that Christmas cookie cutter. They're all the same. They all suck. They all have lists. They all talk down to me. I'm not that guy. If you walk away with nothing else from this, if you remember I'm not like the typical accountant, that might be all I need to get in the door. Because companies can go their entire lifetime and never meet an accountant like me, which may or may not be good depending on your Well, thank you for having me. It's been a real pleasure. I'll be available for questions after. But again, I'm not the typical accountant. It's the only message I want you to remember. Thank you.